Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger of Illinois, who sits on the Foreign Affairs Committee. Congressman, thanks for being with us. I'm wondering, why do you think the president has gone to the mat on this? Why is he giving Turkey such a pass? Was it just an impromptu thing in a phone call with Erdogan?
I think it's all of it. I think the president makes very impulsive decisions on foreign policy. I think he made an impulsive decision without thinking through the results of that. I think Erdogan somehow convinced him with stars in his eyes that he was going to be humane. And you know, the reality of this is it's disgusting. It's sickening. It's sad. Think about the fact that the Kurds have taken 10,000 deaths in this fight against ISIS because we didn't want to put troops on the ground, so they did it for us. We, conversely, have lost 17 in combat throughout this whole campaign. We lost, basically, in Iraq and Afghanistan, close to 7,000 people. So think about the impact that's had on the Kurds, but they stood with the United States because they believe in us. And they could easily have turned to Iran. They could easily have turned anywhere else. They stood with the United States of America. And because of a conversation with a basically dictator, President Trump pulled 50 soldiers, 50 people back. And those 50 people were holding back a Turkish attack. Those 50 people who I'm sure every one of them were in tears when they heard this, these 50 special operators. Are watching this horrified, as we all are.
I think what the point you make is an important one to point out. We're talking about 50 U.S. service members, and I'm not in any way indicating that 50 is not an important number, and you know, there's concern obviously about their safety, and that's one of the things the president has said. But if the idea is we can't have these endless wars, we want to bring troops home, we're not talking about thousands of troops here. We're talking about 50 who have held off this advance from Turkey, but their presence alone has stopped Turkey from their ambitions in the territory that the Kurds believe is theirs.
2 quick points. On the endless wars thing that you hear from now the president, but Rand Paul for forever, it's not our choice to do an endless war. It's really been the terrorists. They're the ones that haven't changed their goals. They haven't changed what they wanted to do. And secondly, look, 50 American troops there. This is exactly what people like the president and like Rand Paul and some of those were advocating for when they said we don't want 100,000 troops in Syria. They were talking about putting special operators to train indigenous forces to fight for us. That's exactly what this mission is. And for no reason, no discernible reason, the president woke up one morning and tweeted a bunch of tweets, changed the whole dynamic of the Middle East, and abandoned an ally, and it's disgusting.
You're a veteran. You've served in the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. You, as a Congress member, have met with the Kurds. You've gone there. Obviously, there are security concerns, some legitimate ones that Turkey has about terrorist attacks by Kurds in Turkey. But to paint the Kurds with such a broad brush seems just myopic. It just seems unfair.
It is. I mean, you think about the, like 13 or 15 million Kurds in Turkey. Iraq has around 6 and Syria around 2. It's a big population. And there is an issue with the PKK, this terrorist group. And you know, Turkey has every right to defend itself against terrorist attacks. But the idea that we would actually supply, equip, stand with the Kurds who are not PKK to defeat ISIS, and then for no reason pull out. And by the way, 10,000 ISIS members are being held in cells. Where are they going to go? They're not going to go to Europe. They're going to go back onto the battlefield. The president's biggest promise in the campaign wasn't to get out of all these wars. It was to defeat ISIS.
Does it make any sense to you that he said, well, the Kurds, you know, they're fighting for their land. They didn't help us in World War II and Normandy. And then he talks about ISIS saying, well, they're going to go to Europe, as though that's okay.
Yeah, so first off, I love Europe, and I hope there's no terrorist attack there. That's what America used to stand for. We're bigger than what we've become lately. And the Normandy thing is, I don't get it. I don't understand it. Yeah, I mean, the Kurds weren't. There were probably some Kurds ethnicity in Normandy somewhere, but yeah, they didn't invade with us. I don't hold that against them. There's a few other people that didn't either.
Germany didn't help us in World War II either. We seem to be allies with them now. Congressman Kinzinger, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Vice President Pence is on the road in Iowa. So is our Randy Kaye. Up next, what he had to say to Randy about foreign interference in America's political process.